All right, let's get started today talking about the Thunderbolts, one of the movies I was looking forward to the most this year, and it did not disappoint. What a movie. From the start, I was excited. Kind of didn't really know what was going to go on. I was kind of thinking, with like Bucky Barnes and all of that, like you've had him in a movie, but you haven't really had, that much focus on him. And again, there wasn't really much focus on him. It was all with the new Black Widow, her dad, the Red Guardian. You had the new Captain America, the fake Captain America, JV Captain America, that was called in the movie, which is a pretty good joke. And they had whatever face is that disappears. And then Bucky Barnes on top of it. The cast and how they built this out, with Sentry coming in right at the beginning, and them not really knowing what Sentry was and how he was the project that was scrapped and that they were talking about this whole time, was great. You could see at the beginning they they went into his kind of like mental health issues that, in the comic books are really tied in, and it really helped further the plot of this movie because you got to see a little more of the backstory of the other Thunderbolt characters. You got to see that, the JV Captain America his family left him. You got to see, new Black Widow, basically how she entered her Black Widow program. You got to see, some of Sentry's, problems with his parents and stuff like that. And the big thing is they really did well showing why these characters are the way they are. They didn't try and really, just give no reason and think that they're all depressed and they all have sad backstories. They showed why each character is the way they are and why they think the way they do. Maybe if they put off their guilt, they put off their depression, and anxiety and stuff like that. And that's what really hit well. And it showed also with Sentry how he was like, I have really high highs and I have really low lows, just like real life. And how they painted that was great. And when he has those low lows, he cannot control himself. He is very, untamable, and that's where it gets into where now he has the Sentry Project, and he is the Sentry Project, where he's all powerful, he's all invincible, super strength, can fly, super speed. It is crazy how powerful he is, and that is something that I can't wait to see in the future, how they use them, especially in Secret Wars and Doomsday, because there was great casting for that as well. One of the best acting performances in a Marvel movie in a while. And I went and I said this right after the film. I think this is probably the best Marvel movie since Endgame. And I know maybe Shang-Chi is up there, but they really haven't played into it. I think obviously No Way Home, but genuinely, like how they built this up. Then when you see Sentry and you see his whole Void situation that they're gonna get into later in the Void, with the multiverse and all this, especially in Doomsday, how they present the Void in this movie is awesome and scary at the same time. Like when people were just disappearing in the movie, me and my brother who was watching with me, we looked at each other like, holy shit. Like they did such a great job with showing. There is a scene where Red Guardian is saving this little girl, and he saves her and he goes, oh, you're all right, and she disappears right in front of him into the Void, and you're like, whoa, like holy crap, that just happened. and how he is played out, where he's literally just a black figure and you just see his eyes as the Void in Sentry. It's awesome. Then you, not only to mention that they all go into the Void and they see, you know, backstories, how to beat the Void, all this, and basically that like the Void is unbeatable. So like, yeah, they beat the Void for a time being, but when Sentry gets in those moods again, that could happen again. And it was, I mean, a battle to even get out. The final battle scene was crazy. It was Sentry versus the Void, and they get him out, and it shows that, you know, all Sentry needs is some love and some background, and how they touched on that was so good. Again, I'm not trying to get into too many spoilers. I'm trying to give a little bit of stuff, because I really think, again, like I said, this is the best movies for me of Marvel since Endgame. And I really think it's because it touches on stuff like depression, anxiety, and real serious stuff that everyone goes through on a daily basis. But it shows it in a way that, like, obviously in a superhero way, whatever, but also in a super real way, and shows kind of how this whole group comes together, and the new Avengers and whatever. And that's that on the movie. I really think you can get into that, you can whatever, dig into it, especially go see it. But the second cutscene at the end of the movie revealing that, you know, the Fantastic Four are coming into the timeline, this timeline, is huge. For a lot of reasons. Obviously, to get the Fantastic Four in the universe, which we already knew, obviously, with the movie coming out. But also at the same time, it paints the picture of how crazy Fantastic Four is going to be, that they have to go to this new universe with how Galactus is probably going to beat the shit out of them. And they fight it off as long as possible until they basically have to leave their universe. Which, again, is awesome, because Galactus needs to be painted as this all-powerful being, and, you know, Galactus needs to be painted the way he is in the comics, which he's basically unfucking beatable. Whoa. Bleep that. Ian, bleep that. That's my first one this year. Okay, me and Ian have a running bet on F-bombs. We're done with that. Okay, but that's a good sign, especially with this cutscene. It's the longest, I'm pretty sure someone said it's the longest end cutscene in Marvel history, and it lives up to the hype. I really think, obviously, I have super high hopes now for Fantastic Four. I always go into it with a clean slate, whatever, if the last movies, but I genuinely am very, very excited for Fantastic Four that comes out in a little under 2 months now, I think. And I think this movie solidified that, you know, it's an exciting route that they're going, and they're not as derailed by the Kang the Conqueror stuff as maybe I thought. So again, I think you guys should go see it. It is probably going to go down as one of the movies of the year for me. I know the past 3 movies I've said there's been great movies. There's been some great movies out in the past 2 months. So if you guys are bored, if you guys need something to do, go see some of the movies. Go see Thunderbolts. Go see Warfare. Go see Sinners. I mean, there's a lot of new good movies that are out right now, and also movies that are coming up. Fantastic Four, the Jurassic World movie. A lot of movies that are coming up that are I really have high hopes for, and I hope you guys go see them in theaters.